Welcome to You Ought to Watch This Movie, the podcast about movies from the first decade of the 2000s, aka the aughts. Follow along and explore a movie from the aughts, getting unbridled opinions from two millennials. Sit back, relax, and enjoy one of the best decades in movies.
Welcome back to Yadam, or You Ought to Watch. You can tell by her face she does not like that particular name for it, or acronym, if you will.
It just sounds weird.
Well, Yadam. Anyways, today we are reviewing
The Whole Nine Yards,
which is nothing to do with the actual content of the movie. It's just a random title, as far as I can tell.
No, it was a saying, like, he wants the $10 million, the whole 9 yards.
Oh.
It's a reference, probably a reference, like I don't know, is it a golf reference? Is it we maybe should have looked this up before we started recording.
Yeah, well, that's what makes these shows interesting.
No, that's what makes it look like we're unprepared, because I can't plan for what Miles is going to say.
Exactly. That's the known unknown of the show, which makes it fun. But, I guess, at least we're more prepared than some podcasts.
Okay.
Which, by the way, I'm Miles.
And I'm Colin.
If you didn't know. And if you don't want this movie to be spoiled, go watch The Whole 9 Yards. You can rent it on Amazon Prime.
Or anywhere else that you can rent movies.
So, with that.
Well, first, I guess I'm going to tell you The Whole 9 Yards, or The Full 9 Yards, is a colloquial American English phrase meaning everything, the whole lot.
The whole lot?
Yeah. And this is from 2000. It was released February 18th, 2000. And I was going to give my little warning that it's rated R. I have some things that I saw on the screen when we started playing the movie, but I was trying to find exactly what things it's rated R for.
Language, violence, I'd imagine.
Sexuality, nudity. Alcohol, nudity, language, smoking, frightening and intense scenes.
Okay.
That we think we covered everything.
So, with that said, let's get to your lovely summary.
Okay, well, Miles might have a different summary, but this is what I came up with, because I
didn't make a summary.
I know, but you might think after I read it, you might say, that's not what the summary, that's not what happened. But I was scratching my head trying to think, not literally, but I was figuratively scratching my head trying to figure out how to summarize this movie.
It's so interesting because, like, whenever you're thinking, if you think of, like, Michelangelo's David, where his, fist is on his chin, like, he's in deep thought. But the saying, scratching your head.
Don't you mean the thinker?
The thinker, I'm sorry. Yes, thank you. Is in deep thought with his fist on his chin. And the saying, scratching my head, implicates scratching your head, thinking about something as your actual head. But somehow we equate this, and I'm putting a fist up to my chin as then being in deep thought, when instead, your brain's up top.
Maybe his brain was feeling so heavy from thinking that he had to rest it on his chin.
That's a clever thought. Okay. I'll take that one.
Okay, so Colin's summary is a known gangster moves in next door to a dentist. A series of events involving the gangster and his previous mob boss ensue.
Well, I think that is a varied script summary. I can't really, I have no add on to it. I think it's great.
Okay. So we'll move on to our trailer section.
All right. You want to go first?
Okay, sure. So, there was a voiceover halfway through the trailer. I also commented, I'm not sure if I will like this movie. It seems like it could be too raunchy.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And my only other comment was there are two big names, Bruce Willis and Matthew Perry.
Okay. Well, my trailer summary is first line. I mentioned the voiceover as well. I say, this trailer reminds me of the epitome in time for voiceovers. Let's reread that line. This trailer reminds me of the epitome in time for voiceovers. I really like the, oh my goodness, I can't even read my own handwriting. I really like the macho rom-com vibe that leverages Bruce Willis's action bravado with a softer comedic duo. I remember that I watched this at some point, but I don't remember anything about it. So, from our summary, you can gather that the actor Bruce Willis, who also stars in the Christmas movie Die Hard, is one of the lead actors. And no, please continue.
What? Continue what?
Go on.
With my actors?
Yeah.
Oh, I also had him on my list. I said I didn't know him from anything in particular.
Christmas movie Die Hard.
I said I didn't know him from anything in particular. Other people might know him from The Sixth Sense.
Okay. I see dead people.
There's also the other lead is Matthew Perry, which of course everyone will know from Friends. And we also know him from a movie that will be on here much later, 17 again.
Oh yeah. I did not remember that he plays that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And we also know Kevin Pollak, who played the mob boss, Yanni. He's Cupid in the Santa Claus movies and the Santa Clauses.
Oh, that's funny. Okay. I didn't know.
The TV show thing on Disney Plus, the series on Disney Plus.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I don't think I knew anyone in there. It's like saying I know Matthew Perry. I know his face, but I don't know who he is because, I just haven't watched Friends. So, or we haven't watched Friends, rather. But I thought the cast was good. The guy who played the cop, undercover that Matthew Perry's wife was trying to hire as a hitman. I know him from other comedies, but I cannot remember which ones that he's in. What was that?
Hank.
Oh.
His tail hitting the box.
For those of you who just listened to this, we have cats. And right now, since they are acting appropriately, we are allowing them to stay in here without removing them.
Two of them. The two, the two that are more well-behaved.
Yeah.
I almost said the two weller behaved.
Yeah, if you just want to let your full hick on in, I'm very welcoming. I enjoy it. I like the hick in you. All right?
No, that's more like making up words because you can't think of the right
That's
one.
what we do here in Oklahoma.
I'm not using an accent, though.
Well, not yet anyways. Don't worry. Sometime you will. It'll grow on you. Actually, if we have kids, I'm just going to talk like this all the time.
Please don't.
So that way their accent comes fresh out the box. So, did you find the cop guy?
I'm looking.
Oh. Well, other than that, I'll start out with my notes. I wrote down this. You got it?
Mm-hmm. His name's Harland Williams.
Okay. And what else is he in? Well, here, let me flip this my way so I can see, because I'll be able to recognize him more quickly based off of his lovely filmography. So Puppy Dog Pals.
Oh, did he create that? I think he's the creator, and he was on Inside of You.
Oh,
and I heard about, I think he created Puppy Dog Pals.
Oh, yeah. Why we know about Puppy Dog Pals? It's because when we lived in Connecticut, I was stationed there, is every morning at freaking
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, Puppy Dog Pals was on, and we had the TV set to automatically come on. And
no, it's just, well, also we always had the TV on at night.
Yeah.
And because we always chose the Disney Channel, because that's one of the like few channels that doesn't have like paid programming through the night. So you actually like hear TV through the night. And I don't need any arguments about like, oh, you shouldn't sleep with the TV on. That's not what we're here for. But anyway, when we would wake up, this kids show Puppy Dog Pals would be on, and it was just so adorable.
Two pugs, Bingo and Rolly, just roaming around. But we're here to talk about the whole 9 yards. I'm looking at these films. I really am having a tough time. Like, he's in a lot of stuff I know. Like his voiceovers. He does a lot of voices. But man, he's got a plethora of stuff that he's done. And I'm looking here. Oh, he was in Superstar, Molly Shannon's film. Yes. He played Slater. So that makes total sense now. That's why I remember another great movie, but earlier than the aughts. And yeah, that is why I remember. And he was also in Dumb and Dumber. He played the state trooper that they pull over, and he thinks they're drinking, and they're certainly not drinking. So I'll just leave that comment at that. So the comment I made, and I don't remember specifically why I put this down, but I put it in quotes: "Do me a favor and die." Comment from what seems to be a mafia boss's daughter. What? Question mark. Do you remember that?
Who said that?
The mafia boss's daughter.
No, I thought it was his wife.
Oh,
said that at the beginning.
Yeah, do me a favor and die.
Yeah, because they hate each other.
Oh,
that was his
that's
wife.
The back and forth. It's do me a favor and die, and it's just like, jeez.
Yeah.
How rude.
Yes. We never actually get a clear explanation of why he married her.
Or, how those two even, are peas in a pod, if you will.
Well, it's just because her dad and him had the dentist practice to get together. Yeah. But I'm thinking, was that the only reason? It was convenient. They were, thrown together a lot or something. Oh,
that's why I made the mafia. She seems like a mafia boss's daughter.
No.
Okay, that's why I made the comment. Because, it's like she is so freaking vicious. And this is Matthew Perry's wife. And it's just like, how did these two marry? That's another comment I made. And then another comment I made is, he really hates mayonnaise. Why did I make that comment?
Because, so this actually takes place in Quebec, Canada. Uh-huh. Which I was very surprised at with the first scene that we see. And it says, Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And I'm like, what? And then nobody has an accent. Except his wife has a French accent. Nobody has an accent.
Does she have a French accent?
Yeah, because Quebec is the French.
Yeah, I know. I took her, do me a favor and die. And her habitual smoking and just how she...
Yeah, she had a French accent.
Oh, okay.
And so that's not her real accent.
Mafia boss's daughter.
That's not her real accent, because I read that she, used an acting coach and a voice coach. Anyway, but nobody has accents, that he talks to. And I get the people who aren't from Canada. Sure, he's not from there. Demi, the Tulip Tedeschi isn't from there. But, anyway.
That's Bruce Willis's character.
Yes. they hate, apparently in Canada, and who knows if this is actually true, and this is like 24 years ago. So I guess they'd put mayonnaise on all of the burgers. But
who puts mayonnaise on burgers? That is just awful.
But there's a thing, like cheese, I can't remember which is which. If hamburgers are supposed to get mustard, I think that's right. Hamburgers are supposed to get mustard. Cheeseburgers are supposed to get mayonnaise, but I always ask for both because I like mayo and
I like
mayonnaise.
the combination, but
I do
mayo
not like
by
ketchup.
itself is, unless you're doing like a ham and cheese.
Well, a regular sandwich, yeah. Have the mayonnaise. But I think that's the thing here. We do mustard, like classically mustard on hamburgers, mayo on cheeseburgers. Anyway, they hate the mayonnaise on the cheeseburgers, and they ask the restaurants not to put it on, and they just keep putting it on anyway.
The cook's back there thinking, they'll like it. So, love at first sight. Isn't that, quote, killer? Get it? Because, Jimmy the Tulip is a serial killer, and he falls in love with his wife at first sight. It's funny because isn't that killer?
I don't get it. Who does he fall in love with?
The Bruce Willis's wife.
Oh, you're saying Matthew Perry's character.
Yes.
You said Jimmy the Tulip fell in love with his wife.
Oh, I did? My apologies. I said love at first sight. Isn't that, quote, killer?
I heard you, but I don't get what it means.
Because Jimmy the Tulip's now going to kill him.
Oh, okay.
Because he fell in love with his wife.
Okay, I get that.
Okay.
We should probably say Matthew Perry's character's name is Nicholas Osaransky, but he goes by Oz.
Oh, okay. I remember Oz, but they don't really establish like his character name.
I know. I had to look it up.
Yeah, but So, and I put this. I guess love at first sight can happen for a dentist or a serial killer. It has no bounds. Because later on in the movie, Jimmy the Tulip falls in love with the dental assistant that Oz has, which coincidentally just happened to be the woman that Oz's wife hired to kill him. And so she took the job as a dental assistant because she wanted to, I guess, learn his routine. I'm sorry, but... And maybe this is the thing. Maybe this happens. I don't know. I'm not a hitman. But what hitman gets a job at the target's place of employment to scout out a freaking schedule or routine?
Well, that makes sense. Because if you don't know what their routine is, then you can't kill them. And also, if you are a person that they... know and trust, they won't be expecting it.
Yeah. So what do you got?
At the beginning, I said Matthew Perry. I said Matthew Perry's character, but that's before I knew his name. Oz's life seems depressing already at the beginning of the movie, and then I said, why does he have an English accent if it's Quebec? But then we learned that he's actually from Chicago.
The funny thing is that they kept references. They kept making references. Well, dentists are, the leading profession for suicide.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, okay, just hammer it in. Like, he's got a depressing life.
And then I said the Elkins Oyster Bar that he and his friend in Chicago go to looks like the same set as a restaurant that was in Isn't She Great?
Yeah. I was thinking about that when you said it, and I'm like, yes, it looks exactly like the same set. So it was probably just redecorated and repurposed for this, which, makes me think if there's just a large auditorium of, fine dining or whatever is, like, are the extras there actually eating? And if they are, it's like, how do you get to be an extra at that auditorium? Free good food? Okay.
I don't know. I feel like the office ladies would have an answer to that.
Oh.
You'd either have to be an extra, like a paid extra, like an actor who was
you get paid with the food.
Work.
If it's fine dining, I'll go there for free if they're giving a lobster and steak dinner.
Be at the right place at the right time.
Yeah. I'll be the most credited, non-paid extra. I'm sorry. I'll be the world record holder for unaccredited, non-paid extra. And if you get paid in food.
Well, the only other comment I had was that I don't know how to feel about this. I didn't really enjoy it. That was my only other comment, because I'm just like, I was just sitting there being like, I just think this movie's so dumb and I didn't like it.
You could see it in, like the way she was like positioning herself. Like, she's like, okay, is this over? Or like, so stupid. And then what was the Jimmy the Tulip's bodyguard, the big black guy? What was his name?
His character's name?
Yeah, no, his actor name. Because he was in The Green Mile, which is another excellent movie. It is.
I hope that's before 2000. I hope that movie's before 2000 because I'm not watching.
I can't remember.
I think it's 99, 98 or something.
You just
I know it. I know it's a horrible story.
Wow. It's got good elements to it. Do you got him?
His real name is Michael Clark Duncan.
Michael Clark Duncan, yes. Big old guy. And then, like they're supposed to be these close friends, and he ends up shooting him at the end because, I'm turning over a new leaf. I'm not going to be the same old serial killer and get rid of the witnesses.
Well, that other guy was going to kill Oz, so I think it shows that Jimmy was actually becoming a nicer person overall.
But the comment I didn't get at the end was that is he would have saw me as like weak, and then he would have come after my $10 million. I'm sorry, how is he going to come after your $10 million in a bank account in your name? Like if you had $10 million sitting at your house, okay, that's a credible idea. But I just don't think he's going to waltz into the bank and say, I'm here to get Jimmy the Tulip's money.
Well, I'm sure there's some way he could.
But needless to say, the movie was not Colin's favorite. I enjoyed it because of this, the back and forth and the shenanigans that ensued. And what a clever, on your feet way of thinking by Matthew Perry's character to get out of the whole thing. However, there's one major plot hole, okay? How did Oz know that the cop that was killed, that his wife hired to put a hit on, how did he know that guy was a cop?
They found the badge.
Yes, Jimmy the Tulip and others found the badge. Oz and Jimmy the Tulip's wife sped off
because they were talking on the phone at that payphone.
Yes,
I think we didn't hear both sides of the conversation. We just heard one side. So I'm thinking that it was portrayed then, because that's when he came up with the idea. And I forgot to ask you this when we were done. Like, what did they do? Switch their teeth or something? So they couldn't identify the guy's teeth? No. So
whenever a body is in such decomposed that it becomes impossible to, get a forensic, especially back then. Now you can do DNA. But back then it became incredibly difficult to do it. And I mean, even today, I know as recently as last year, they did this type of identification.
Dental records.
Yeah,
yes, I know that, but I'm asking what they do?
I'm getting there.
Well, you're insulting my intelligence because I'm basically
explaining it to the audience.
They probably know. They probably watch Dateline.
By the way, sorry, sidetrack real quick. Dateline is so much better than Case Files. So we listen to Case Files sometimes, and Dateline is, if you enjoy an Australian just laying out the facts, and if you find needing a port, you'll understand that. If you ever watch the show, it sounds like he says if you need a port, but he's saying if you need support. Anyways, the Case Files just lays out the facts, and Dateline tells a story, a great story. That's not great, but it's a story that is well told. That's a better.
Well, I just have to say something. You have to think Dateline's been around for 30 years, and they've perfected their craft. Dateline wasn't always true crime. At first, it was like a nightly news segment, and then they got into true crime, and they've been perfecting their storytelling and their format. The Case File guy, I have a lot of respect for him because he did an interview for this other podcast, and I listened to it, and he had a 9-to-5 job, but then he had like a sports injury, and
he just started it.
Well, he had to be in recovery for like 6 weeks or maybe longer than that. And so he got time off from work. And anyway, he started the podcast during that time when he was on medical leave because he was becoming depressed, like having to sit around. It was like a knee injury or something. Okay. I know we're running out.
No, we're good.
And anyway, he started the podcast then, and then he was trying to do his job and the podcast, but eventually he just his friend told him, that he should quit his job, and anyway, he did, and then he has the podcast, and that's his job, and I just have a lot of respect for that, and so I don't want to be like Dateline so much better, but it's just Dateline is
different in the concept is. I appreciate Case Files for it laying out the facts, right? And getting to the point, like walking timeline through it. I think that's awesome, especially because my degree's in legal research. That is so cool because building a timeline on it in the legal terms is a very difficult and monotonous, time-consuming thing to do. As to where, Dateline, really pulls you in with their stories. So I appreciate them both separately. But where were we going with this? Now I'm lost.
The dental records.
Oh, the dental records. Okay, back to the dental records. So if a body is in such decompose, and since it takes such a long time to get DNA results back, if they want to make a preliminary match, whenever you go to the dentist, it's so funny they use duct tape to get the dental X-ray, but if you go to the dentist and you get this X-ray that goes around your head, it gets a panoramic shot, which is a picture of your mandible and maxilla, your jaw. And it shows where your implants, where your fillings are, etc. Right? The shape of those implants, the shape of those fillings are very unique. And depending on what material is used, they have various factors of identifiers, and because they are unique, like a snowflake, if you will, it's easy to make that determination. This is that individual. And so if they can positively make a determination, because dental records are so unique, they'll forego actual DNA analysis. And in this case, they did just that and said, oh, Jimmy Tulip is dead. And then the cop's missing. And they blamed it all on the wife.
But you're not answering my question.
Which was?
I wanted to know exactly what they did to his teeth. I understood all of that.
Sorry.
I know they do dental records. Yeah. I know they use your unique whatever's in your mouth, all of that. I wanted to know because they took off one of the cop's teeth, did something to it, put it back in. What did they do? That's what I wanted to know.
They matched the dental implants and fillings that Jimmy the Tulip had.
Okay. Well, because I guess that's why they took his x-ray and then they...
Yes.
Okay. So I didn't understand that. That wasn't very clear. I thought they like switched teeth, but we never saw Jimmy like, you know, in the chair getting his teeth drilled on. So I just didn't know what they were doing.
What they did is they matched up the, you know, work that was done, so that way they could say, yeah, this is him, because, you know, especially back then DNA was incredibly difficult, and if they can make that determination, they would send it off. I wonder if today they actually like send off DNA to confirm after the fact. Seems like that would be required.
But if the body's like all charred, and they still get DNA?
You can get DNA from the bone, you can get DNA from tons of stuff.
That's where I guess they'd have to, it needs to be a really important case, because that's when people from the Jeffersonian would come in.
Oh yeah, like from Bones.
Yes.
Which is a show we watch, but it won't be reviewed on this.
That was early, well, mid-aughts, so not too far after this.
If we do a podcast called Yachts instead of Yachtum, you have to watch this show.
No, I just mean for like the DNA and stuff. Probably back then it would have to be an important case for them to have such high tech.
Well, and also technology. You got to think is, so the aughts were like the time frame where CSI came out, you know, Law and Order, SVU was around, and they Bones, they glamorized the use of DNA. DNA, you know, it's even now it isn't an overnight process. It takes, you know, I mean, in best cases, weeks, you know, to my understanding, to get that information back. But as they glorify it, like, we ran your DNA yesterday, we know you did it. So anyways, what do you grade it?
Well, I gave it a C-.
I thought so. I knew I knew that was what you were going to give it.
But what percent did I give it?
You gave it a 71.
No.
A 72?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which is still higher than my lowest score, which was Supernova. That got a 68. Oh. This might have gotten a 68, but this trailer let me know that I wasn't going to like it, probably, or that it would be like inappropriate.
Imagine if the voiceover was, you know, aptly done. This movie is something that Colin will not like.
So I'm not sure why we watched it, other than I thought the trailer could be misleading, as they so often are. Mm-hmm. And I also thought, well, two well-known actors, maybe this will be good. And also, I'd heard about this before, so I thought maybe it would be good.
Yeah, and also, you know, Bruce Willis, you know, the known actor from that Christmas movie, Die Hard. Christmas movies, plural. Yeah, but I just thought it was intriguing. I struggled on whether or not it was getting a B, and it failed the test. This gets a 79.
Really?
C+.
I thought you liked it more than that.
Oh, no, I liked it. You know, I like it in the sense that it's a fun movie to watch, you know, because, you know, action and, you know, Bruce Willis being Bruce Willis. But it's not something that I would say, yeah, I'm going to watch that again. So with that, you know, you give it a C-, I give it a C+. And that's just because it's, I guess, a different style that I like. The macho bravado action rom-com.
Yeah, this is kind of like a satire on gangster life.
Clearly a satire, you know, and but yeah, I guess that was my biggest issue with it. The plot hole that I mentioned, that you kind of put a hole in my chain of thought, because I don't know what was said on the other side of the conversation. But you know, to me, it's like, if you suspend disbelief, what a clever scheme to get out of it.
Yeah.
So other than that, if you like it, you know, go watch it. And we will be back here in 2 weeks with the next episode. We don't know what we're watching yet, but we will be back nonetheless.
Well, we have some ideas.
Colin has some ideas.
We'll just have to see, because the next movie might be in the same genre or like the same caliber as this movie.
Ooh,
so
how
we'll
exciting.
See.
Yeah. Well, other than that, until next time, this has been You Ought to Watch This Movie, or Yadam. She doesn't like that very much.
It just sounds weird.
It sounds like something like, is, oh, that's why. It sounds like, got him, Yadam.
It sounds like something they'd say on Seinfeld. Like some word they'd make up.
What's the deal with Yadam? I don't know. Okay. Well, until next time, I'm Miles.
I'm Colin.
Thank you for listening or watching.
Yes.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to You Ought to Watch This Movie, a podcast about movies from the first decade of the 2000s, aka the aughts. Be sure to subscribe for new episodes covering movies you ought to watch. We'll see you next time.